Looking for somebody to ask a question. Well, good evening. I'm Darlene Allen, and I'm from the League of Women Voters of Marquette County. I'd like to welcome you all to this League of Women Voters Candidate Forum featuring candidates running for the Marquette Area Public School Board. The candidates are running for 2 seats on the MAPS board on November 8th, 2022 in the general election. The Marquette County chapter of the League of Women Voters is sponsoring this forum. For over 100 years, the League has engaged and educated voters through candidate forums, voter registration drives, and voter guides. The League is a nonpartisan political organization established to encourage citizen participation in government. It never supports or opposes any political party or candidate. We offer you this opportunity to become acquainted with the candidates and their views in order to promote an informed vote on Election Day. In Michigan, the school board is the governmental body responsible for carrying out the state's educational obligations at the local level. The Marquette Area Public School Board is responsible for the Marquette Senior High School, the Marquette Alternative High School, Bothwell Middle School, and Cherry Creek, Graveret, Sandy Knoll, and Superior Hills Elementary Schools. The powers and the duties of the MAPS School Board include educating students, providing for the safety and welfare of students, acquiring and disposing of school property, determining matters relating to school employees and contractors, controlling expenditures and receipts of public funds, setting curricula and courses taught in school. So during this forum, we request that members of the audience please remain respectful of the candidates and the forum format. Please turn off all cell phones and refrain from taking photographs or recordings during the forum. No campaign clothing, buttons, or signage are permitted during the forum. To provide the maximum time for questions, we request that you hold your applause and comments until the conclusion of the forum. This forum is also being live streamed to the League Facebook webpage, League of Women Voters of Marquette County, and will be recorded and posted on that website as well. So invite those that have missed the forum to check it out there. So thank you for coming, and the forum will now begin.
Thank you, Darlene, and welcome. And good evening. I'm Joel Foley. I'm the Executive Vice President and Convener of the League of Women Voters of Marquette County. I'm also Coordinator of Candidate Forums and Moderator of tonight's forum. I'm not, however, responsible for the weather. Thank you. Thank you all for coming out on this blustery night. And for those who are staying home and live streaming, you probably had a really good idea there. The candidates tonight are running for 2 seats on the Marquette Area Public Schools Board. Starting to my left, they are Mene Barillon, Jason Zdunek, Cheryl Maddox-Smith, and Adam Ladd. There is another candidate, Leibeth Freeberg, who was invited and would have liked to have been here. However, she's getting married this weekend and has unavoidable wedding preparations, and also is dealing with a medical emergency. So please keep her in our thoughts. She has given us a statement that I will read with the rest of the closing statements. Those of you who have received your absentee ballots already know that there are 2 more candidates on the ballot. And if you want to look at a sample, we have one out on the front, in the front entrance. Megan McCune and Grant Guston, were candidates, but they withdrew from the race. However, the ballot had already gone to the printers. I'm going to explain the format a little bit for those of you who haven't seen one before. The format for this evening and for all league forums is established by the League of Women Voters, both locally in the county, guidelines from the state, and from the U.S. leagues. So each candidate will have 1 minute for an opening statement, 1 minute for each question, and 2 minutes for a closing statement. Earlier this evening, our candidates drew numbers for the order in which they will speak. The candidates will each answer the same question, and the candidate answering first will rotate in sequence. The candidates will be answering questions submitted by the audience, which some of you have already done, and by citizens in the MAPS district in advance. You can continue to submit questions while you're here by writing them out on the cards that you were given and raising them up on our pages. We'll pick them up for you. Our questions go through our screeners to check that they're relevant and appropriate for the position for which the candidates are running. They may combine the questions on the same topic. We often get multiple questions on the same topic, and we want to cover as many topics as possible. They may rewrite the questions for clarity or to avoid redundancy. We will use as many questions from the audience as time allows. Each candidate will respond to each question. We have a time clock, which you all can see. We have a timekeeper who will be displaying time remaining to the candidates so they don't have to be craning their necks to look at the timer. So when the time is up, the candidate will end their response. I will then move the question to the next candidate. I'll remind you that there will be no comments or applause from the audience during the forum. Afterwards, it's okay. No photos, video, or audio recording, except for ours, and the phone should be turned off. You may see some photos being taken, but we have official league photo takers for those. The candidates are reminded and have been told earlier that they are asked to respond only to the questions asked by the moderator, that they are, please be respectful of the other candidates. Personal remarks or statements about other candidates' views are not allowed. And the disclaimer, the views expressed or candidate statements provided in this forum are those of the candidates, and the league takes no responsibility for their accuracy. We do recommend that listeners fact check any information themselves. So, as determined by lot, we are going to begin with opening statements, and we'll be starting with candidate Barillon, You have the floor for 1 minute.
Thank you, Joe. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you to the League of Women Voters for coordinating this forum. Hello, everyone, in beautiful Kaufman Auditorium, and hello and good evening at home. My name is Monet Bourillon. I am running for one of 2 open positions here at Marquette Area Public Schools Board of Education. Although my name will be at the bottom of your ballot, it should be at the top of your list. I was born and raised here in beautiful God's country and graduate of Northern Michigan University. Marquette is my home. My son sat on our porch for the first day of kindergarten at Graverette, and fast forward, they are fast. 8 years, and he's now a middle schooler at Bothwell. Earlier this summer, we added more young children into our home as a licensed foster family. And as a mother, I care about what you care about, keeping our kids safe, helping them grow into capable, resilient adults, and helping them get the skills they need to cope with stress as it occurs.
Thank you. We'll move on to candidate Zdunek.
Well, I want to welcome everyone to tonight, and thank you to everyone for taking the time to research the candidates, and thank you to the league for putting this event on. And I know everyone up here is running for different reasons, and for me it was easy. I'm running for the money. This is a highly paid position. I am the only candidate that is running that is a licensed teacher in Michigan and Wisconsin that's taught in a full-time capacity in the public schools, as well as a coach, including being a head varsity football coach. I look forward to using the experience that I've learned to offer a balanced perspective on issues involving teachers, parents, other staff members of the schools, such as the maintenance staff, administrative staff, transportation staff, kitchen staff. I want to make sure that we support all of the staff that make our schools to be as successful as we can day in and day out. Additionally, I look forward to using my experience in finance and background to review current and proposed budgets and bonding issues to ensure that the money is best utilized to facilitate the needs of Marquette area public schools. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, candidate Maddox Smith, you have the floor for a minute.
Thank you. Hello, and thank you for coming. I'm Cheryl Maddox Smith. I'm a registered nurse, and I'm also a certified youth addiction counselor. I'm a mom and a nana to MAP students. I've always been a connected and involved parent and grandparent. I think a lot of the issues that are facing our district are not unique to Marquette, but nationwide issues. Pandemic learning has been difficult, and helping students who fell behind to get back on track is absolutely critical. Educator shortage is an ongoing problem that we have to address creatively and proactively with retention of our current teachers and support staff, as well as recruitment of new teachers. We need to ensure we are doing everything we can to keep our students safe and in a supportive environment. I support inclusivity and equality as basic human rights, to embrace all students by removing discrimination and intolerance. Therefore, we need to creatively find ways to partner and support mental health, as it is absolutely critical to the health, well-being, and success of our students. Thank you.
Thank you. The floor is now yours, candidate Ladd.
Thank you, ma'am. Again, also like my fellow candidates have said, I greatly appreciate everybody being here. My family is out here too, so my 2 MAP students are here, Amy and Travis, which I appreciate both of them being here, 4th and 6th grade. I've been very blessed to be able to be a stay-at-home dad for the last 6 years, semi-retiring out of law enforcement. But in that time, I've been able to help out MAP's area public schools at the elementary level at Superior Hills. I've subbed at every level at the elementary school, and one thing we need desperately right now in every school in Marquette is subs. We need subs and volunteers right now. MAP students and MAP teachers need subs now, not in a month, but now. There are more volunteers here tonight than there was the last 4 weeks of school when I've helped and subbed at Superior Hills. All the schools are suffering now. We need help from parents and volunteers, please. Thank you.
Thank you. That concludes the opening statements. We will now proceed with the question segment. Each candidate will have 1 minute to respond to each question. We will begin with candidate Zdunek. The question is, what issues relevant to the MAP school district are you especially concerned about?
Well, thank you for the question. And the first item that comes to mind is the importance and involvement of the extracurricular activities for all of the students. And I don't mean just football. I'm talking band, art, whether it's photography club. That is one of 3 areas that if you looked at is empirically proven to increase academic success, and it's also empirically proven to increase emotional and well-being. And as a coach of athletics of over 20 years, I know the importance that extracurricular activities had in my life from 8th grade moving on. I wouldn't be here in this position if it weren't for the opportunities that I had, as well as the outstanding individuals that I had to help me along the way. So I look forward to making sure that we leverage extracurricular activities along with other areas, but that's certainly the foremost item that comes to mind when that question is being asked, to make sure that those opportunities are there for all of the kids to have available to them.
Thank you. The same question now goes to candidate Maddox Smith.
Hi, I understood the question to be what issues. Am I correct, Joe? So the issues that I see, I think I can echo Adam. Definitely educator shortage, which I addressed in my opening statement. We have to get creative. We need to be proactive, and I agree it's something we can't wait on. We need to retain the amazing staff that we have here at MAPS, and we need to find ways to recruit new amazing staff for MAPS. Some of the other issues I see that I support are mental health initiatives. We need to find ways to partner with people in the community, parents, kids, all need to have a voice at the table to support mental health. It's absolutely critical. Our kids are facing things that we never, ever could even imagine when we went to school. Just the world has changed so much. Supporting safety, equality, and inclusion are big topics that I'm interested in. So that's about it for me, mental health, and I'm stopped.
Thank you. The question now goes to candidate Ladd.
Thank you. Cheryl said it best right next to me. 100% we need help in the schools. I just had the opportunity in the last 2 days to visit every school in MAPS district, and all of them need help. I believe last week when I looked at the MAPS website, I believe there was still 26 positions that were unfilled, and a couple of those said multiple positions. I know numerous classrooms need aides. They also are short on special education. This is not only affecting our children, but it's affecting our teachers. In the days that I've subbed this year, to see the look of fatigue and anguish on the teachers' faces already, and it's only 1 month into the school year, it's difficult to see. I've had seasoned educators tell me this year they've never seen a year like this until now, and I think that goes back to what Cheryl said about the pandemic and the issues that it's caused for our children and our teachers. Thank you.
Thank you. The question now goes to candidate Marion.
The MAPS issue I'm most concerned about is the need to foster social and emotional skills. In addition to the academic rigors needed to prepare students for a global workplace, school must cultivate these needed extras. In addition to sports, it's really our mental health that we need to focus on. Schools really cultivate a sense of belonging and a place where you can find strong relationships with peers and with other students. These meaningful connections are incredibly positive and will help mitigate, future or current stressors that our students face. This is important to be able to be successful today and in the future.
Thank you. We'll now go to our second question and begin with candidate Maddox Smith. And this question we've seen multiple times from people in some form or another. So how would you handle a request from a parent to challenge and or ban a book? This applies to curriculums and school libraries. Sure. How would you handle a request from a parent to challenge and or ban a book, either from individual curriculums or school libraries?
Thank you, Joe, for repeating that. So any questions that come from the parents, I take very, very seriously. as a school board member, one of the things that we do is get a lot of questions asked to us and what to do or what to fix, we can do to fix it. We don't necessarily fix anything, but what we can do is talk about it in meeting openly, discuss it, consider different points of view, definitely including our superintendent, looking at policy, looking at curriculum. A lot of our curriculum is set by the state, so we have curriculum that we have to make sure our students are following to continue our funding. As far as book banning goes, I don't think that that is so much an issue in Marquette, but I do think that it merits discussion and people being open on both sides. Thank you.
Thank you. The same question goes to candidate Ladd.
Thank you, ma'am. If the issue did come up in Marquette, I would definitely want to start just from an objective viewpoint, to go into it with an open mind and look at both sides and see what the argument was. And again, I'm sure whoever brought it to the attention of the school board would have a specific question or a reason. I'd want to look into that reason, look at it obviously with the rest of the board, and be able to look at the book ourselves, look at the content that's being questioned, and look at it objectively and weigh it out with the other board members, and come to a conclusion of what we believe is it educational? Is it something that has been discussed in the past? But that's the way I would want to handle it together as a group with the fellow board.
Thank you. Same question goes to candidate Marion.
Ooh, conflict. No worries. As I tell my youngsters, all behavior is a message. So with anyone with a really passionate opinion, I would love to know where that feeling is coming from. So I would certainly take the time to really listen to this parent and find out what exactly seems to be objectionable with this particular book. History is fraught with terrific lessons, and part of looking at history is so that we don't repeat them. So certainly there is a lot to learn, even from something that doesn't have a particularly modern ring to it. I love books, and I think it's a fabulous way to not only educate, but look back to see what was life like at that time. And if this parent continued to be fervently interested in this particular topic, I would invite her to apply for one of the 26 openings at MAPS, and she could go ahead and help the students learn what she feels is important.
Thank you. The same question goes to candidate Zdunek.
Thank you for the question. Boy, it's a lot easier going last than it is first. I would take that concern and ensure specific areas that are in that concern are included and bring that to, I think it really requires a consortium of individuals to address that particular issue. I would work with the librarian, the administrative staff, the school board, my fellow school board members, and have a discussion to include making sure that we address any legal issues that might be available, and work together to make sure that we facilitate an appropriate response back to the individual that levies that particular complaint, and then move forward accordingly.
Thank you. We'll now go on to the third question, and this will start with candidate Ladd. Question is, how are you qualified to contribute to building the vision, budget, and policy for the MAP school district?
Thanks, I'm just getting down. Vision, budget, and policy, ma'am, correct?
Correct.
All right. Well, it's kind of a large question there, but to focus on, the budget side of it, definitely I would want to work with the fellow board members and to definitely learn about the budget and learn what the current board has done. The current board has been there a long time, and definitely I would want to sit down with them, listen about what issues are there, what are our numbers. I've had the opportunity to sit in on some of the committee meetings and learn about some of the budget issues. As far as policy, same thing. I would want to sit and listen, learn first before I make any decision. And as far as vision, definitely, I want the vision to continue forward, to continue to remember to focus on students and their education. And I gather a lot of my information from the current board and the things that have already been done in the past. Thank you.
Thank you. The same question goes to candidate Barillon.
The vision of Marquette Area Public Schools is clear. MAPS has a fantastic strategic plan, really built on continuing excellence in education and beyond, with years and years of proven hard work to get to this point. Myself, as a community leader in child well-being and resilience, I'm qualified to raise questions on both budgets and policies. I currently serve as a trusted advisor at both the county and the state level. I review policy, support strategic planning, and make critical decisions daily that impact others. As an organizational psychologist, I have years experience with the boring stuff, statistics, and interpreting data, interpreting research. That's exciting, and I like to look for innovation and opportunities to improve at every turn. So I think I'm well qualified to deal with the minutia, while also not leaving out the important vision that's already been set for us.
Thank you. The same question goes to candidate Stunek.
So again, thank you for that question and addressing and taking a look at policy. I think it's important when you're dealing with policy to make sure that you work within the groups, these smaller groups, to make sure you come forward and then ultimately present that policy decision to the larger groups or to the entire board at hand to make sure that you're able to cover things and know exactly what you're going to be presenting for a policy, whatever that area might be. I think it's very important to work together to make sure you develop an appropriate policy. As far as vision, I think it's, again, very important that you make sure that you ensure staff, parents, the community are all involved with that particular vision as far as making sure that we move forward in a positive capacity to the best that we possibly can. As far as budgets, I think that's going to be a strong area that I bring to the table, especially given my finance, accounting background as an area technician, for example, with the United States Department of Agriculture Rural Development. I helped to develop projects to audit municipal finance to make sure that those projects were going to be fiscally sound in preparation for bond councils. Thank you.
Thank you. The same question to candidate Maddox-Smith.
Thank you for the question. So as far as working with budget, being a nurse, I think everybody's aware of the constraints of healthcare that we are all dealing with. So as a nurse, I've been able to make critical decisions for our patients with budget constraints. And also as a youth counselor, you know, there are a lot of constraints within that community. So I don't have a real issue with working with budget constraints. I think a lot of our budget comes from state mandates and making sure that we're following the state guidelines so that our budget stays solid and on track. The vision for MAP School, I think, is an amazing vision. I think our superintendent is moving forward with a great strategic plan with excellence in education. And I think we need to keep that momentum going forward, and I support that 100%. As far as policies changing, I think that we need everybody's voice at the table, the teachers, the staff, the parents, and that's how change happens. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll go on to the next question, and that will go to candidate Barillon. What are some short-term and long-term ways to address teacher and staff shortages in public schools?
We all need to feel appreciated. We are so much more willing to go the extra mile when we feel like we are appreciated in our own way, whether that's a word of kindness or a smile from a student. We just need to feel like we are seen and our efforts are going noticed. I think certainly supporting teachers and staff is paramount. You can't help others unless you are filled up yourself. So I would short-term love to make sure all our staff are trained on self-care and the importance of positive experiences so that they can breathe. feel a little more filled up so they can give to their students. Long term, I would love to just listen and see what they need next. And that's where our direction should go. When you have happy teachers, you find happy teachers.
Thank you. That same question goes to candidate Zdunek.
Thank you for that question. So when we're looking at shortages in staff, and obviously the question focused around teacher shortages, and I think it's important that we would include shortages in all other areas, as one of the other candidates mentioned, that not only we have issues with teachers, there's issues with all of those staff. And so on a short-term basis, how do we do that? At the end of the day, we need to make sure that we're offering competitive wages compared to, for example, other schools. Okay, Gladstone schools, for example, and some of the other areas offer, for example, higher pay for some of these positions. So it's important that we offer competitive compensation packages to the individuals to fill those positions, to make sure that those are filled with highly qualified candidates to the best we possibly can within budget constraints. Also, as far as how to address these things, I think it's very important to leverage culture. And how do we leverage culture within the schools? That we need to make sure that we work with our administration, because it starts with leadership, starting at the top on down with the Board of Education, with our superintendent, with our building principals, our assistant principals, to leverage that positive culture to make sure that those staff want to be there.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry.
Thank you. The next same question goes to candidate Medic Smith.
Thank you for the question. It's a great question. So short-term and long-term strategies to improve. Short-term, I definitely agree that we need to be really creative, and we need to look at ways that we can make our teachers feel appreciated, acknowledged, and heard. And I think that really begins with listening to what they want, what they need. I agree that we need to increase wages, looking at reimbursements for trainings. And I realize that all falls within a budget constraint, so that's something that we have to look at. I think long-term, we have a great school community, and I think continuing on that forward motion, keeping MAPS as a school of excellence, making it a great place to live and work, that's going to bring people in, and not just our teachers, but again, our support staff, our aides, our dietary people, classroom aides. We need to just make it a great place for everybody to want to work.
Thank you. Thank you. The next question, the same question, goes to candidate Ladd.
Thank you. I appreciate the question, and also the responses of the rest of the candidates have been very well worded. When I spoke to some teachers, they really wanted us to listen to their concerns and listen to their needs. I definitely want to do that. I think that's very important. I know MAPS right now is working on a couple different ways of helping out the pay structure for our subs, our support staff, for the workers. I do know they're working on that. They're working on some ways to help out the current, if someone comes to MAPS, help them in the future stay with different incentives and programs. So I definitely want to find out more about that. But definitely I think it goes back to listening and helping them achieve their goals, where they want their career to go, what type of training that they want to receive. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll go on to the next question now, and that will go to candidate Zdunek. This question also has come up several times from citizens. How would you resolve the long-standing question of the team names for Marquette Senior High?
Boy, how did I get so lucky getting this?
You knew that was coming.
How did I get so lucky? Yeah, and absolutely. And so this is an issue that's come up, and as a candidate, this is the most common question that I've received, whether it's on email or through social media. And we've already, I think, as far as moving forward with that particular name, it's been something that's been addressed for many years. And coming from Marquette, I understand that this has been a contentious issue for quite some time. How to resolve this? Number one, the mascot has already been removed. That happened quite some time ago. Now we're left with the school name. And so I think it's important to go back and look at the survey that was done a couple of years ago. 62% of respondents in that survey, where MAPS spent thousands of dollars to survey the community, responded back with that they support the Marquette Redmond name. And so I think that taking a look at that survey and going back on the history it's important to come together to figure out how we can move forward with those survey results, knowing where those came in. Thank you.
Thank you. The same question goes to candidate Maddox Smith.
So the question, how to resolve the team name. There is a lot of controversy and divisiveness about this. And I would want to look at everybody's point of view on this and objectively, absolutely. But I think we need to look at what the previous work that's been done. And it's right on our MAPS website. You can look at the research that was done, the evidence that was presented from the community, from the committee that they formed. And a lot of the evidence that's scientific evidence-based about how that name may make a portion of the students feel. I think we need to look at all of that evidence because everybody needs to feel included and feel that they're able to cheer enthusiastically for their team, their name, and feel included. But I do think that we need to come together and have a calm discourse about it and let it not be divisive, but let it be
Thank you.
all of us together. Thank you.
Thank you. The same question goes to candidate Ladd.
Again, thank you. Definitely, this is one of the subjects that I have definitely heard the most about. When talking with people, I've been fortunate to talk to people with both beliefs as far as keeping it or changing it. And I would definitely have to also go back and look at the amount of time the previous board has spent, or this current board has spent, the survey that was sent out, and the vote that the community made. I do know it affects many people in different ways, but right now it is causing a ton of division in our community. I really want to see our community come together and come together for our students. It's affecting our students greatly. One thing that I talked about with somebody the other day is, have we done a survey from the student body to see what they think? We've done it as adults and stuff, but I'd really like to know what they feel and what type of mascot that they would want. But I believe it's we need to find something that the students can believe in and help them with their education.
Thank you. Thank you. The same question goes to candidate Orion.
I think the nickname issue, or whatever tomorrow's hot button issue, will certainly bring more people to the table. I'd love to see those folks stay when whatever decision is made and continue to bring that same level of enthusiasm and passion to the real issues that matter. Sometimes all of this talk can really overshadow the real needs of students. And I want to make sure that that doesn't distract the board as we continue to meet the daily needs of students. Speaking of students, kids need to see the adults in their life to demonstrate tolerance and respect and model appropriate reactions to challenging situations. So I think we need to make sure children not only do what we say, but do what we do. And that means listen and respectfully communicate. And that is our true test of if this school is something worth standing behind or not.
Thank you. We'll go on to the next question now, and that will go to candidate Maddox Smith. Sorry. I have an interesting grid here to follow. This is the question. How should schools teach our history with regards to slavery, racism, segregation, Native Americans, those issues? Segregation, Native Americans, and you can continue the list in that manner. Yeah.
Thank you so much for that question. That's a great question. How should we teach history? I think, in my opinion, that we need to follow the curriculum that the state has set for us. Our funding and our budget does depend on us teaching a certain curriculum. And we do have some leeway with that, but we do need to make sure we're following that. That being said, how should we teach history? I think that there are many wonderful lessons to be learned from teaching history truthfully and honestly to our kids. We don't want to repeat mistakes of the past, so that's an important thing that comes out of it. If you look at just even the slavery issue, yes, it's a horrible stain on our history, but then we look at people like Harriet Tubman, what a wonderful person that we want to highlight and want our children to aspire to be like. So teaching, hot topics like that, I think that honesty is the best policy, and I think that we should be teaching history as it happened.
Thank you. The same question goes to candidate Ladd.
Thank you, ma'am. Again, excellent answer by Cheryl. I truly believe in truth and honesty. Definitely follow the guidelines that have been set by policy, not only by the state, but by the previous MAPS boards. Follow what the superintendent is also looking at. But truth and honesty is the best policy. We all make mistakes. None of us are perfect. And talk about those and talk about the effects that it's had on our country, on our history, on the people that it's affected, good and bad, and to make sure and give an objective view, give both sides so our students can make up their mind. Thank you.
Thank you. The same question goes to candidate Bourillon.
So may I ask to have the question read again, please?
You bet. How should schools teach our history with regards to slavery, racism, segregation, Native Americans, et cetera, et cetera?
Wonderful. Thank you so much for repeating that. What I heard is, how should we teach art history?
Oh, sorry. Our history.
Our history.
Our history.
Ooh, okay.
Not art history.
Well, I'm going to pretend she said art history because that's what I was thinking of. Art. It's supposed to make us feel something. And it doesn't mean the same thing to you as it may mean to you, but it's supposed to be a representation at our most, basic human beginnings of art, is to be a representation of what was going on at the time. So I think we need to be really open about history and speak to the facts, but also use that as a moment to understand what life was like for them. And so the importance of history is that we understand it fully from all points of view, not just from the people who wrote the textbooks or who won, but for everyone involved in those activities, so that we can truly learn and experience and be immersive in that part of our history, so we learn how to become better people.
Thank you. Same question goes to candidate Zdunek.
Thank you. Social studies was one of the areas that I am certified to teach in Michigan in grades 6 through 12, so I have taught this. And one of the ways that I approached history, which included these topics, depending on what area we were teaching, is to make sure you teach it objectively. We need to make sure that those areas and those topics are taught according to curriculum guidelines. The curriculum is set forth through a variety of different levels to make sure that you teach those subjects within the curriculum and to make sure you teach them accurately and objectively. If you go into starting to teach some of those things where you might have an opinion over here or over there, I found those, I've seen it where those kids can see that. So it's very important that you make sure you address those topics, again, objectively, but it's very important nonetheless to teach all those topics, because if we don't teach what we did in the past, if we don't teach history, how do we expect to move forward better? So again, I wanted to make sure that was a very important area within the classroom when I taught. Again, making sure that we know what had happened and how we can move forward better.
Thank you. The same question goes, we did? Okay, we did everybody? Oh my God, you guys are good. Okay, this is a little more specific question, but it came from the audience, so we think we should ask it. So this will start with candidate Ladd. Okay. Do you support changing the 7:29 starting time at Marquette Senior High, and why? I'm not sure if it's a softball question or a hardball question.
Well, you let me know at the end, right? Thanks. My son has just entered 6th grade, so we are just getting these early start times, and definitely it's become a topic of talk in our household. One of the things, I guess, I'd have to really look into it, and I'd want to talk and get the opinions of the public in exactly what the feeling is. I do know, looking up some of the bus start times surrounding my son riding the bus and seeing some of those bus pickup times at before 6 a.m. for some students is extremely early. So I definitely want to look at what we could do, talk to the board, talk to parents. I don't know if there's another possible start time. I know when I was in school, it was very similar. And I think, at least in my experience, most high school start times are somewhere around that time. So I definitely have to look into it more and get some more opinions. Thank you.
Thank you. The same question goes to candidate Borion.
As with any idea, I would have to turn to the research. I'd really need to know what studies have been done and what kind of evidence is out there that we can rely on. Certainly from what I know about teenagers is that a tremendous amount of brain activity is going on in the adolescent years, very similar to those first 3 years when billions of brain cells and connections are happening with a very young child. The same thing is happening to our young students. So the sort of habits they're creating, the things that they're learning, the people they're around have a huge influence on thought patterns as an adult. Our adolescents need to be supervised. So I believe a later start time would better complement their brain activity as well as provide much needed supervision in the afternoon so that they can continue to be around folks who will support and be good role models and not left to their own devices.
Thank you. The same question goes to candidate Zunick.
Thank you. I got started out with the name change issue, and then you get school start time. So looking at the research, and I have actually looked at the school start times, and actually the research does show that our older students do react a little bit better with a late start time. So I do support changing that start time. However, there's a lot that goes into whether that's going to be a realistic possibility or not. There's a lot of detail and minutia that goes into the scheduling of the transportation staff. You have other schools such as Father Marquette that need to be considered as a part of that. So again, that there's a lot that goes into it. I do certainly am open to the school change start time. Again, however, there's a lot of work that goes into whether or not that's a reasonable reality, working with the transportation staff, working with the other administrative staff, especially within building principals as well, to make sure that that's going to work as a realistic change. Thank you.
Thank you. The same question to candidate Maddox Smith.
Supporting a 7:29 start time and why. So I love this question, and I'm just wondering which high schooler submitted it. But I will say that evidence has shown, evidence that I've read, some real supported evidence, that there is better learning that happens later on as the day goes on. So I do support following evidence, evidence-based research. That being said, there is a ton that goes into changing a start time. So I think that that would be something that would have to be collaborated with the school board, with parents' input, staff input, transportation. I think that would need to be a huge roundtable to make it happen. If it were to happen. But yeah, I definitely support looking into that and doing what's best for our kids at the end of the day is I think what we all want to do and what MAPS is all about.
Thank you. We'll go on to our next question now, and this will go to candidate Barion. The Michigan Association of School Boards offers opportunities for professional development and certification of school board members. What training are you willing to undertake to develop the knowledge and tools to shape public education?
Ooh, I love training. I love learning new things. This would be exciting. I guess I would love to learn best practices. I know certain new exciting things always seem to have a hub somewhere. So I'd want to find out who was doing the best training, what result they had, and why it was worth it for us to put in this time. Certainly that being said, this is work we're all doing on top of our other day jobs, etc. So I think it's important to really look to see what our talents are here before we go out looking to other places. I'd love to share a wealth of information with my fellow board members and the community so that we're learning things that are applicable to us and can have the best outcome.
Thank you. The same question goes to candidate Zdunek.
Thank you for that question. And what training am I willing to undertake? And I'm willing to undertake any training, obviously, that's going to provide me with the expertise to be able to answer the variety of different questions that a school board sees. And we've seen our school boards answer all kinds of different things that have come up. I would love to get engaged in training where I will learn how to work certainly as professionally and as best as we can working together. For example, as an entire school board as well as with the administrative staff. Nowadays, there's a lot of opinions and things have become slightly polarized. So I would love to look at training to figure out how we can make sure we find common ground to move Marquette area public schools forward to the absolute best capacity that we possibly can. And so whether that training comes through Northern Michigan University is something that we travel to train, I would love to engage in any of that type of training to become more of a professional individual and school board member if possible.
Thank you. The same question goes to candidate Maddox-Smith.
Great question. So I have actually done a ton of research on the Michigan Association of School Boards website and navigating it. It's a great website. I think that all the board members and anybody who's interested in becoming a board member should take a look at that site. There is a list of classes that you can take, and you can pick and choose which classes that you would like to take. The great thing about the classes is that they offer the district reimbursement. So if one or more members wanted to attend a training, whether it was online or in person, the district would get reimbursed for that. So that's an amazing opportunity for all board members to take. I am definitely a lifelong learner, so I would nerd out and love every minute of that, and love to take school board members with me. So that's how I feel about that. Thank you.
Thank you. The same question goes to candidate Ladd.
Thank you. I would appreciate any and all training. I've always enjoyed it throughout, especially in my law enforcement career. I definitely enjoy learning. I would definitely enjoy learning about the current trends that are facing our students. Probably one of them more specifically would be the challenges that we're facing as far as how do we handle electronics for our children. All of our children, especially our older ones, have cell phones. What's the latest research out there? What's some training we could do on how to help them navigate some of that stuff? How do we navigate it throughout the school day? What are some practices that we can share with them? Also, obviously, with law enforcement, many dangers that come along with those abilities, the things that can come through a phone. So I'd like to see I'd like training on that. But anything that MAPS has already done in the past and that has helped previous members, I definitely would enjoy going and taking on that challenge and learning something new. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we'll go on to the next question, and that will start with candidate Zdunek. What are your concerns, if any, about school security in Marquette area public schools, and how would you address them?
Well, thank you for the question, and unfortunately, it's a poignant question over the last several years that we've seen. In school safety, we've seen Marquette area public schools make changes in that. When I was going to school, every door in the school was open. You could go in and go out any door that you want. You can't do that anymore. So obviously, we've started to take that very seriously, and that is a very, very serious topic, unfortunately. Changes that we would make, I know that Marquette area public schools works with Marquette City Police Department, and so obviously we want to continue that relationship. Marquette is blessed to have multiple areas of law enforcement, so if not included and involved, I would also make sure to invite and involve, if possible, the Marquette County Sheriff's Department, the Michigan State Police, and MU Public Safety. I know that, I believe that drills are conducted, so I think it would be certainly worthwhile to include as many law enforcement agencies as we can to make sure that things are addressed if possible and if needed.
Thank you. The same question to candidate Maddox-Smith.
So concerns about school safety, and it's so sad that we even have to talk about it, but it is something that we have to deal with. It's the reality of the world that we live in right now. I know that there are a lot of policies in place regarding this, And I do know that our schools have responded, very well to this. The schools work with law enforcement. I know that there is a school officer. They also liaison with the other agencies in the community. They do drills. They have sadly active, shooter scenarios, and so they are doing a lot. What I would like to see as far as this going forward is I would like to see maybe more of our counselors and support members supporting our students through these things. I think that is just a huge thing, is supporting our students and keeping them safe throughout the day.
Thank you. The same question to candidate Ladd.
Thank you, ma'am. Obviously, school safety, very important. I am one of the active violence, active attacker instructors for Northern Michigan University for their regional police academy. So I'm in charge of training not only new officers, but current officers. I've also been in several of the schools in our area helping train staff to how to respond to those. I feel very good at where, especially here in Marquette, where our schools are on safety. I believe my students, my specific children are safe. I believe our students are safe. There's more we can do. Unfortunately, these attackers have access to a lot of the same stuff now that the law enforcement and military does as far as what's on the internet. They're changing what they're doing. We need to continue to research it, work with current law enforcement to help us better secure our buildings. But overall, they're doing a good job. I want to continue to partner with Marquette City Police Department and the officers that they provide to the schools.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The same question to candidate Borion.
So on December 4th, 2012, my son was at an early childhood class at a high school 8 miles away from Sandy Hook. And it was the longest 20 minutes of my life to get over to my son's school and pick him up. I lived through a horrendous following years trying to see my friends and my community members suffer through the most horrific thing possible. We are secure at MAPS. We do have the wonderful support of our local law enforcement who I trust implicitly. This isn't something anyone wants to see for their school or their child. We need to make sure the adults train and take on this burden and always reassure children that it's something that they don't need to worry about. The adults are handling this, and always reassure children that they are safe.
Thank you. We'll go on to our next question then, and this will start with candidate Medic Smith. The question is, how would you respond to parents concerned about how topics of gender identity and sexual orientation are handled in classes? Repeat it? Sure. I know it's long. How would you respond to parents concerned about how topics of gender identity and sexual orientation are handled in classes?
How would I respond to parents? Obviously, I would respond respectfully and compassionately. I personally believe that everybody has a right to whatever identity they identify with, and they have a right to education, feeling included, supported, and welcomed in our schools. How would I respond to that parent, I guess, would depend on what their concern actually was. Is it something that's happening in the classroom, outside of the classroom? Is it bullying? Is it curricula? We need to look at what the specific concern is, and then draw in our resources from there as to how to deal with that situation.
Thank you. The same question to candidate Ladd.
Thank you. With any parent concern, I'd really want to sit down with them and listen, and take a lot of time to listen, and remember to try to put myself in that situation and have some empathy, not only for the parent but for the student. and to feel where they're coming from. And after listening where they're coming from, try to discuss some ways and listen to their ways on how they believe that we could help the situation. I believe in treating everyone, no matter who you are, how I would want my family or myself treated. So I definitely want to listen to those concerns. If there's changes that need to happen, check into policy, talk with fellow board members, talk with our administrators to see what we can do to assist that student and any student facing any type of difficulty in school. Thank you.
Thank you. The same question goes to candidate Boreon.
This is a brave new world, isn't it? We are facing and watching things happen, unfold in the realm of young adults, and that are facing questions and options that, typically we didn't. And I think our job as parents and as a school is to really listen and be curious, have a curiosity about where this concern is coming from this parent. It could be, sometimes the simplest answer is the best. Sometimes we don't have to go into a lot of detail, or we get the wrong idea and go off on a different tangent. So really listening, it's so important to make sure that every child is supported as we evolve through this changing dynamic of gender expression and gender identity. And as parents, we have the obligation to let our children lead and teach us what we need to know so that we can better support not only our children, but their peers.
Thank you. Same question to candidate Zdunek.
Thank you. In that particular situation, I would field the question, take that concern to the applicable building administrator, and if needed, work with the superintendent and my fellow board members to make sure that we develop an appropriate response to that particular situation. We just want to make sure that any situations that are fielded by a board member are addressed adequately and appropriately. And in that particular scenario, I would make sure that the layers of that particular issue are addressed accordingly and appropriately and professionally.
Thank you. We'll go on to our next question then. And this will go first to candidate Ladd. What are your ideas about making cafeteria food more inclusive of vegetarians, kids with allergies, and how can we give kids healthier meal options in the cafeteria? Is that any repeats on that? Are you? Yeah. Okay.
Again, thank you. As far as cafeteria food, I know I work. One of the main things I do right now for Superior Hills is I help out during the lunch hour, and I do know at one of the earlier school board meetings or committee meetings, Chris and I'm horrible. I don't remember Chris's last name right now, but they have done quite a bit of work this year. I know they went with a new pizza. They've tried different things. They had some taste testing that was done. Usually they try to provide a salad bar or a type of fruit bar, something of choice. If we're not having enough types of food, definitely we should look into that if it's something we can do. I do know this year that the cost has went up drastically. I think a carton of milk, if I remember right, went up 7 cents, and it normally goes up 1 or 2 cents. So I know we'd really have to look at the cost factor of things like that and be fiscally responsible. But definitely, anytime there's a concern, if there's something we can do to help children out, I want to do that. Thank you.
Thank you. The same question to candidate Boreon.
I would love to focus on the educational component of nutrition. I would like to applaud Grey Verret with their garden initiative. There's so much that children can learn as they eat food. We've been breaking bread together as a people for millennia, and it's such a wonderful part of coming together. I think when children have a voice and a hand in what's served, what they eat, maybe even helping, would be a wonderful part of making sure that it feels good to them and it's something they're enthusiastic. Also local farms, and again, the education involved with cooking is fantastic. Eating is a very short part of it, as anyone who's cooked Thanksgiving dinner knows. It's the preparation and sure, the cost. Also like to focus on the socialization aspects. I'd love to see teachers at the table. This is a time to relax and talk and connect with one another outside those structured classrooms. So I think between nutrition and socialization, and I'd probably sneak in some sustainability.
Thank you. Same question goes to candidate Stunek.
Sure, and thank you for the question. And for me, I would like to make sure that we are offering meal plan options. So anytime that you have options that's going to best suit the family and the child, I think is very important when and if possible. As the parent of a student with allergy concerns, I understand this is an important area, and I'm certainly something that I'm involved in and pay attention to. I think it's also important that if possible, that we work to secure local food options when possible. Let's leverage our local area produced food again when possible. So I think obviously whenever the parents are informed about what those options are, that's going to be best suited for them, we're always going to be able to make sure that those concerns hopefully are addressed appropriately and adequately.
Thank you. Okay. The same question goes to candidate Maddox Smith.
Thank you for the question. Absolutely. Ideas for food to increase inclusivity for vegetarians and children with allergies, cultural, religious differences. That's incredibly important, and we need to respect that and honor that. We currently have a 6-year-old that has allergies, and so I know how very important that is. Making sure that there's an EpiPen, available in the classroom, that the teacher's aware, that the dietary people are aware. It's a process, and I get parents are frustrated with that, and I get that. And right, Adam and other members pointed out, food costs have just skyrocketed. So that is a really big deal. I think our schools have done a great job with Salad Bar and getting a lot of choices out there. And we know healthy eating promotes learning. So, we want to make sure that our kids are fed correctly, healthy, so that they can be as successful as possible.
Thank you. We'll go on to our next question, and that will go to candidate Marion. In an ideal world, what areas of the MAPS budget would you want to designate more money? Ideal world.
Goodness, without a doubt, it would be the arts. We need to focus on children expressing themselves in a more holistic way. We need to dance, and we need to paint, and we need to drum, and we need to feel a current running through us that gets us through to the next hour, something that lights us up. We aren't just inputting computers where we input data and we spit it back out for testing. We're creating human beings, and to find something in their day that lights them up, that makes them feel electrified through the arts, it just has amazing potential for them to develop as human beings. And without a doubt, you'd never be disappointed with that, and certainly I would not.
Thank you. The same question goes to candidate Stunek.
Thank you. In this area, again, in a perfect world, I would be in trouble as the son of a music teacher if I didn't include music in this discussion. So I absolutely think that extracurricular activities, and again, what music, band, athletic opportunities, drama, wherever that area is, to allow that child not only to excel in the classroom, but to excel in other opportunities outside of the classroom. I would love to see an increased funding in areas of industrial technology. We have a great industrial base here in the Upper Peninsula. There are a lot of open jobs within those areas. Auto mechanics, welding, pipe fitting. Those would be tremendous. Other areas that have empirically shown areas of academic improvement to include technology. Right now we offer students Windows-based products. I'd love to include an Apple option in there. And lastly, building maintenance and improvement. So any area that we can make sure that we include improvement in infrastructure opportunities would be tremendous.
Thank you. The same question to candidate Maddox Smith.
This is a great question. In an ideal world, boy, I could go anywhere with this. I guess my biggest thing would be putting money into the budget that is something that is inspiring to our students, whatever their individual passions might be. Just putting that spark into these students is going to do so much for their lives, moving forward. Big things that stand out to me are things that improve their mental health, inclusivity, equality. Programs like music, art, drama, sports, technology, the trades, getting them involved and partnering with NMU and anything in the community that we can. Whatever sparks our kids to success, that is where I would want, in an ideal world, all of our money to go. Thank you.
Thank you. Same question to candidate Ladd.
Thank you, ma'am. All my other fellow candidates have done a great job explaining what we could do for students. I guess I would like to, in an ideal world, look at what we can do to help fund our educators. What could we do to have 50 educators apply for a certain position instead of 0 or 1? Pay maybe our educators the best in Upper Michigan, maybe the whole state of Michigan, maybe all of Wisconsin, the whole area. What kind of educators could we draw with offering a very, very good wage, a very good benefit package that they could call this a career? A bus driver could call it a career. A secretary could call it a career at MAPS, and our students would see the same teacher throughout their, possibly the same teacher throughout many years at MAPS. I think that would draw in a lot of people. It would draw in a lot of young people that are going for an educational degree but move to other places. So in my ideal world, it'd be nice to really look at our funding for our staff members of every background.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll go on to our next question, and this will be with candidate Stunek. This questioner would like you to share an experience where you used advocacy and leadership in an issue that affected public education. Does that make sense? Sure. We want you to share an experience where you used advocacy and leadership with an issue that affected public education.
Great question, and thank you. So when I was teaching in Wisconsin, one of the areas that I saw that we did not have addressed was an opportunity for a GED at our school. So I worked with the administration and other staff members to work to develop the GED program for that particular school, to make sure that, because we had some students that unfortunately didn't have an opportunity. We had quite a large migrant population, and that struggled in many different areas. So I worked to make sure that I went and visited other schools, and I worked to develop the actual curriculum to develop that particular program. So I worked within the community with other schools to make sure to figure out what was going to be the best opportunity for our schools, the Alma Bancroft Community Schools, our students and staff, to make sure that we had an educational opportunity for everyone. And again, in that particular situation, it included the GED program. I wrote it, our superintendent signed off on it. I presented that to the local Wisconsin CISA, where we were able to get that approved, and that program became started and is still in operation, to my understanding, to this day.
Thank you. Same question to candidate Medic Smith.
So sharing an experience of advocacy and leadership, I guess my experience with that would be a little bit more personal. As a parent with a daughter with an IEP in place, I've had a lot of opportunity to advocate for my child and also to advocate with other parents. I have a sister who has 2 children, both with IEPs in place. In that process, it's really frustrating for parents, and I get that frustration. One of the things that I have done personally is get involved with parent advocates to support people going through the IEP process, because it's confusing. It's a lot to know and learn, and letting them know the resources that are available, trying to point them to somebody that can answer their question, giving them a name and number. And just knowing, letting them know that they're heard. I think that's the biggest thing. I know as a parent, sometimes you just don't feel heard. You don't feel like your needs are being met. And so that's the biggest thing.
Thank you. The same question to candidate Ladd.
Thank you. Going back to my experience in law enforcement and trying to provide a safe training for our students and our teachers. Back in 2011, when the training really started taking off and the training came to all of the UP, I definitely took advantage of going to couple week courses on how to better not only train law enforcement, but also how to get into the schools and train our teachers and our staff on how to react to those safety concerns. And that's when really it started kicking off. I was able to work with several other law enforcement officers in the area, and not only MAP schools, but also schools throughout Marquette County, helping us become safer, more knowledgeable to trends and things that were going on in our schools, how to react to those trends, what to talk about, what to look at, but something I'm still very passionate about and enjoy teaching new teachers, new officers, and helping people that's been out there brush up on all their abilities.
Thank you. Same question to candidate Borio.
I'm delighted in my job with the Department of Health and Human Services to work on a special committee all about creating a trauma-informed community, meaning our kiddos see a lot in their home lives and in the communities that have an impact, have a lasting impact. So one particular program I'm so proud of here in Marquette County is the Handle with Care program. And that's something where an officer communicates with the schools anytime law enforcement or the paramedics visited that child's home that over the weekend or that evening. They don't share specifics, but they let that teacher know that in case that child is acting a little bit tired or off, not to immediately assume that child's being willfully disobedient, but that they may have had a really difficult or challenging night and to handle with care. So it's that kind of example of working together as a community to make sure that every child has the best chances possible to have a successful school day.
Thank you. Okay, we're going on to our next question now. And this is to candidate Maddox Smith. Yes? Yes, okay, thank you. It's your question first. How would you respond to students bringing in flags or other political symbols into the classroom? I'm assuming that question meant not American flags, not state or national flags, but.
Okay, so that's an interesting question, and I know it's something that has been brought up recently. How would I respond to it? Personally, is probably different than maybe somebody else. I think that we would have to look at what our school policy is regarding that. And I'm not exactly sure what that policy is. I would have to consult to find out what that policy is. I think it's important. It depends on the situation. If, are they doing a report on an entity that has a flag? It might be important to show that flag at that point. It depends on the way the flag is being used. Educationally, I would have no problem with that. Used in a negative way, that maybe isn't such a great idea. So I think that's something that just has to be on a case-by-case basis how it's being used, whether it's educationally or in a group way that is maybe negative or controversial.
Thank you. The same question to candidate Ladd.
Thank you. Definitely, we would have to follow whatever policies and rules that we currently have. If it's something that we need to revisit as a board, we definitely need to revisit those rules and policies. But I definitely believe in what the intent is. Definitely, if it's for a school project, I would definitely agree with that if it's something specific. However, if students are starting just to bring in flags to show the things that they believe in, if we start allowing certain flags and we don't allow others, we're starting to exclude people and exclude their beliefs. And definitely, I would want to have all students feel that they're being listened to, but also, again, if we start one, where do we stop? Which one do we start with or stop with? Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, sorry. Same question to candidate Borion.
Certainly I would approach this as I would any situation that seems to have more information needed. Have more curious, ask the right questions, be curious about the intent, let the students speak freely, and I would really like to make sure that it wasn't any sort of act of intimidation or passive violence. Our kids hear a lot of things on the phone, on their home, on the news, and we have to, again, look at each behavior as a message. What are they trying to say? And make sure they can say that in a way that's comfortable and safe for the other students, and possibly put into a better format. Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, the same question goes to candidate Zdunek.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
If a student wants to express themselves within the dress code, I'm certainly okay with that. I think individual expression is a part of finding yourself, especially as a young person, as you move forward. So certainly, as long as it's within the confines of the dress code, I think that's fine. Certainly, though, if we need to work in a consortium to address current dress code issues and address changes if needed. Again, I think it's just important to make sure that we work together with the board, with the administrative staff, to make sure that we're addressing those particular concerns, again, if needed, and work together accordingly.
Thank you. Oh, the next. I'm sorry. I'm getting lost in my grid. Hang on a minute. New question. It's a new question, and we're starting with candidate Ladd. All right. And I'll let you know, and everyone here know, we're going to do 3 more questions, and then the closing statements, in case you're wondering how you're going to last to sit. Okay. So, candidate Ladd, how do you think the school district is currently doing in reaching out to students, especially those with special needs?
Did you just have reaching out? They didn't ask in any certain way?
Basically, I think the question is asking how are we dealing with children with special needs within the classroom?
I appreciate it. Thank you. Definitely, as I previously stated, I do know definitely in our community that we're in great need of special education teachers, special education aides. Definitely in the classroom, it's a great struggle. I've just this month, since school has started, I've helped out numerous times with those classrooms, and it's something definitely that we need more help in. I believe that MAPS is trying to do everything they can do. They're looking outside of the box. They're trying to recruit people. They're trying to provide as much as they can, but it's very difficult when we don't have the educators in order to do it. And it's putting a lot of stress on the educators that are there, and they are doing a great job, and they are trying. But we are definitely seeing, and again, my limited knowledge as a sub, the school is definitely seeing more and more need of specialized help. And I definitely hope we can get more and more people to help out our current educators.
Thank you. The same question to candidate Orion.
Thank you. As a parent of a child, several with special needs, I am overwhelmed by the professionalism, the warmth, and the creativity that the staff at MAPS has provided to me and my children. I think we have exactly what we need to move forward. What I would really like to see is really a more inclusive culture shift. Our kids with disabilities don't just want a seat at the table. They want a seat at the table where they can be themselves and express whatever physical or emotional, communication that occurs with their needs. I would really like to see us more inclusive. They want to see children in books that look like them, that sound like them, and really help our children go from, oh, it's not polite to stare, to, do you want to ask them to play? And it starts with us. That shift always starts with the grown-ups. And I would love to see our children with special needs more embraced within the community.
Thank you. Same question to candidate Stunek.
Thank you. And as a teacher that worked on IEP plans, that developed them that sat in those meetings and several times, and especially when I was teaching in alternative education, we dealt a lot with IEPs and students that had a variety of needs. And in my experience, communication as far as those situations is critical. Again, hopefully there's an opportunity to work with the home environment, with the parents, with the guardians to make sure that those IEP plans are being developed and helping that particular student achieve the desired target of that particular IEP. So again, from my perspective, I've heard MAPS is doing a great job. I have heard from some parents about concerns in this particular area as I've been running for this position, and communication was one of the issues that was brought up. So I think, moving forward, if we can increase the communication, the availability of the staff working with that particular student, I think that would certainly be a great opportunity to move forward.
Thank you. The same question to candidate Medic Smith.
How do I think the district is doing reaching out to students with special needs? I think the school district is overall doing a very good job reaching out. I think that as pretty much we've stated over and over, and the community is aware, shortages. We have such a shortages of educators as aides in these classrooms. I think that some parents are feeling that their kids are being swept under the rug or their needs aren't being met. And I think that we're all struggling. The community's struggling, the parents are struggling, the teachers are struggling. I think that we have to be proactive in recruiting more people, more teachers, and paraprofessionals into this. And I agree. I think that these kids, they need to be embraced and included and feel part of the community. And it's really hard when they feel their needs aren't being met. So overall, I think that they're doing a good job. Can we do better? Absolutely.
Thank you. We'll go on to the next question, and that will start with candidate Marion. What are your thoughts on providing on-site childcare for teachers and staff to attract more employees?
Absolutely. Having secure, reasonably priced childcare is a huge impact on parents' ability to hold down jobs and keep jobs. And helping our early childhood population is the foundation of a strong, healthy community. These are our most, we need to invest in our young children. And parents have so much stress going on as it is. You can't expect them to focus on their job as a teacher or a staff or professional in schools if they're worried about getting that call from daycare for whatever reason. I think that is a fabulous idea. It's a way to show support and investment in our young children and give parents that ease so that they know their children are going to be well taken care of with high quality early childhood opportunities that won't impact their ability to provide as a family.
Thank you. Same question to candidate Stunek.
Thank you for that question. And that's an area I know childcare is an issue right now. The availability of childcare just isn't there. The waiting lists, from my understanding, for those that are involved in this particular area is way too long. And if you can provide childcare as a way to attract those employees to that particular area, is going to give you one more advantage. If that employee has an opportunity to go to employer A that doesn't have a childcare opportunity, or employer B that does have a child care opportunity, guess where that employee with children is going to go? They're going to go to that employer that offers child care as an opportunity. So I think it would be tremendously important and a great asset if we could work to develop that within the Marquette area public schools. As a school board member, I absolutely will support that. I would love to work with, whether it's through Marquette area public schools to make that a reality, or work with other for-profit or nonprofit areas to make sure that child care is offered safe and affordable if possible. I am 100% for that, and I think it's a great opportunity to do that if we can.
Thank you. The same question to candidate Medic Smith.
Supporting child care for our staff would be amazing. I think that would be a huge draw, getting great educators, paraprofessionals, here into the Marquette area. I know as a parent myself, worrying about where your child is and is the child care adequate, good. That's a really big deal. And right now we have a child care crisis. If you can find child care, it's expensive, $450 a week. I do know that there are some state initiatives where some of the employers are being reimbursed through the state for child care if they're offering it. The parent pays, the employer pays, state pays. So it's a nice three-tiered program. Would I support that in our district? Absolutely, 100%. I think that would be amazing.
Thank you. The same question to candidate Ladd.
Thank you. Definitely, I would agree in the same thing. I definitely support that. We have been, my family directly, for both my children, we have used the before school and after school programs that are offered at each, I believe each school has them. I know at Superior Hills we've had one since my children have been small. We've definitely used them up until last year. Obviously, if that could be provided for the rest of the day for staff, it'd be a great experience. I think it goes back to in the perfect world for budget and stuff, would we be able to do it? Would we be able to attract the appropriate people to run a program like that? It'd be awesome if we could find funding and stuff to do that and attract great people that could run those programs for us. Absolutely, it would be a great tool to pull in new educators.
Thank you very much. This is our final question before the closing statements, and this will go to candidate Stunak. What is your definition of educational excellence? And as a board member, how would you foster this type of excellence?
So, and again, thank you for the question. For me, the definition of educational excellence as someone who's taught in the classroom is someone who's able to reach every single one of their students. As a teacher, you're teaching a variety of different areas, and whether it's on the educational scale, it's on a behavioral scale. If you're that teacher that can be that dynamic individual in the classroom to work with all those kids to make sure that they reach every educational goal and possibility that individual can, to have the time, energy, and the enthusiasm to make that a reality, I think is certainly the definition of educational excellence. I think Marquette Area Public Schools has a lot of those individuals. As a graduate of Marquette Area Public Schools, I can attest to the educational excellence that many of my former teachers worked with me on. As a board member, how can I facilitate and foster that? Again, reward those individuals, again, with praise. Sometimes a simple handshake and a thank you goes a long ways as a board member to recognize those teachers. And I would work to do that as a board member.
Thank you. The same question to candidate Maddox Smith.
How do I define educational excellence and how would I foster it? I define educational excellence by the success of our students. Not only their academic success, which obviously everybody's looking at first and foremost, but also their social and emotional success. We're preparing them for their life after school, for the rest of their lives, and those goals just have to be met to make them successful. They're going to face things that we can't even imagine at this point. They will have jobs that we've never even thought of before. So I think that the success of the student is what our educational excellence should be. How to foster it, I think working together as a team with the school board, with the teachers, with the parents, working cooperatively with the community, staff to foster whatever we can to the success of our students.
Thank you. Same question to candidate Ladd.
Thank you. I would definitely agree. Definitely educational excellence for me, would be allowing each student to become the best person that they can be, the best person in their social life, the best person in their professional life, the best person they can be to help our community, help out our country. And that takes so many different avenues. We need so many people to work together to build our students up. It takes a community. I would definitely I would definitely want to support anything that we could do to help our students become the people that they want to be and become productive members of society. How we could do that is just continuing to work together, lead by example, and show our students how we can put our differences aside, how we can work together, how we can work on common ground, and how we can hopefully concentrate on the 90% we agree upon instead of the 10% that we don't. Thank you.
Thank you. The same question to candidate Morion.
Educational excellence, in my opinion, is helping every student reach their highest potential, whatever that is for them. Educational excellence is offering a diverse and comprehensive curriculum that prepares all students for the global workplace. Kids graduating today are going to be landing jobs that haven't even been invented yet. It's so important to help shape their brain to know what to do with that brain, and that it's like a muscle. The more they work on it, the smarter and better they get. It's preparing them to have confidence and rely on those critical thinking skills and those strong social emotional skills to take what they've learned and not stop there, to springboard it into the workforce or post-secondary education to continue to grow and develop for their particular projection. That's it.
Thank you. We have now come to the final minutes of the MAPS Board Forum, where each of our candidates will be given 2 minutes to make a closing statement. I'm going to start by reading the statement from candidate Lee Beth Freeberg, who was unable to be here. She writes, "My name is Lee Beth Freeberg. I am running for the Marquette Area Public Schools Board of Education. I have a true vested interest in the children of our communities. I have both been a foster child myself, as well as having been a foster parent and a guardian parent. I come from a family of 14 adopted children. I currently sit on the Teaching Family Homes of Upper Michigan Board and have been since I was in college over 20 years ago. I was instrumental in the development of its current campus at the end of Silver Creek Road in 2004. I have driven school bus on the side as a fun activity because I love children and currently work as a child psychiatric nurse for Pathways. While I cannot answer any specific questions due to my absence tonight, I can only assure the voters that the best predictor of future behavior is past relevant behavior. And my past relevant behavior has always been to heavily invest in those we are leaving our own future with. I do hope you will consider my name as your pick for the children of Marquette Area Public Schools. Thank you and be safe." And now, who started last? Hang on a second, guys. So I think. Okay, we're going to start the closing statements with candidate Zdunek.
Thank you. And again, I just wanted to offer my thanks to the League of Women Voters for facilitating this opportunity tonight, and all the staff and all the hard work that goes into making this a reality, from setting up the tables and everything else. So, and also thank you to all the members in attendance tonight, as well as everyone watching on live stream. To continue from my opening statement regarding my financial and accounting background, I've demonstrated successful experience in this area as the finance administrator, also with the Marquette County Community Foundation, also as a consumer and mortgage banker, and as an area technician with the United States Rural Development, working to review municipal finance in preparation for bond council funding for water and wastewater construction projects. I'm a lifelong Marquette area resident and born and raised right here. I know the value of our schools have on the impact on the community and the asset that they are. As a Marquette Area Public Schools graduate, I can speak firsthand about my experience and offer a historical perspective while addressing issues as a board member. I have been a coach for over 20 years in football, wrestling, and track, and at all levels, from youth flag football to a head varsity football coach. I understand the importance of extracurricular activities and the positive corollary that they have on students. As the son of a music teacher, I look to leverage all activities as a way to help kids get back on track after a difficult 2 years. Music, art, photography club, yearbook, athletics, drama. Let's get those programs funded, and let's get those importance in those programs stressed. I've never stopped asking what I can do for my community. Whether it was developing and fostering programs for the area youth during the last couple of years. Unfortunately, well, those programs weren't available. I worked with NMU, I worked with Marquette area public schools to put those programs together to volunteer my time. As a result of my experience and my enthusiasm for the Marquette area public schools, I am asking for your vote in November in consideration to be a school board member for Marquette area public schools. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Maddox-Smith?
First of all, I want to thank you guys all for coming out on this chilly Marquette evening. 30-degree temperature change, wow. Just that you're here shows that you care and how important the future of education really is. I want to thank also the League of Women Voters for all your hard work putting this together and hosting this informational forum so voters can make thoughtful, informed decisions on November 8th as to what the future of Marquette area schools is going to look like going forward. I can promise you that I'm willing to listen to everybody and work with anyone and everyone to get things done for the benefit of our students. I'm a calm, level-headed individual, and I'll look at things from all perspectives and gather all the knowledge and information I can before I form an opinion. I'm a team player and I value everyone's opinion. I will always put my personal or political biases aside to think objectively and creatively on an issue to make the best possible decisions. We need to ensure that we're doing everything we can to support our students in a safe and a supportive environment. I support inclusivity, equality as basic human rights, and to embrace students, all students, by removing discrimination and intolerance. I have the passion, the time, and the commitment to the school board and to the children who deserve this to continue to move our school forward, preparing our students for social, emotional, and academic success. This is really our kids' futures at stake, and it's something that I take very seriously. For all these reasons and more, I hope you will consider voting for me, Cheryl Maddox-Smith. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Ladd?
Thank you, ma'am. Again, obviously, I'd like to thank everyone for being here, the opportunity to be here, the League of Women Voters, thank you very much. Also, I'd like to thank all my fellow candidates for coming out. There was some very good answers. Sounds like we have a great group of people, some very informed answers. So thank you for the ones here, and also for Liebeth Freeberg, who submitted her statement also. It just shows the interest that we have for our children. Again, I appreciate the time. I definitely believe in helping students with our hands, our hearts, and our souls. I believe in getting involved and directly helping lives with our actions. That's how we affect people. So I greatly appreciate anyone's ability to get out and help students. We definitely, MAP Schools needs our help. They need our volunteering. But I'd like to close. I'm a fair and compassionate and empathetic individual that has learned through training and experience to tackle any situation from an objective viewpoint. I have sought out the recommendations of the current MAP school board. I've been able to have one-on-one conversations with them, with the superintendent, with past school board members, trying to learn the best I can about how to proceed, things that they've learned, objectives that they've been able to search out or seek out. I have further engaged in learning opportunities to improve my ability to serve effectively on the education board by attending school board meetings and public forums. I appreciate your consideration, and again, I thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you. Candidate Morion?
Thank you. Years ago, Margaret Mead was asked by a student what she thought was the first sign of civilization. Being an anthropologist, you'd think she would say a fishing instrument or clay cookware. No. She said the first evidence of civilized society was a broken femur, a thigh bone, that was broken and was healed. Why is that important? Well, in the animal kingdom, if you break your leg, you die. You can't search out food, you can't run from predators, you can't find a water source. That's it. So the fact that they found a bone that had been broken and healed meant that someone took the time to sit with an injured person, walk them through the recovery, and to be with that person until they've healed. That's a long time, 4 to 6 months. So tending to someone and helping them heal is part of what we do. It's the thread of humanity itself. Mead said, helping someone through difficulty is where civilization starts. So today's schools are faced with unprecedented number of difficulties from COVID-19. When elected to the Board of Education, I will help ensure that our schools stay safe, our opportunities that are equitable with educational excellence, to not only learn, but work and play. I will continue to make evidence-based decisions and ensure that our schools are all for good and good for all. Thank you.
Thank you. We're almost finished with our candidate forum. The League of Women Voters of Marquette County would like to thank our valiant candidates who have faced all of your questions, and our audience who came out on this cold and wet night, and also our audience who stayed home and warm. We also have many thanks to Superintendent Sedgwick, who was instrumental in allowing us to use this beautiful facility. And many thanks to Lance Whitfield, Nick Steffi, and the great crew that has helped us make this such a wonderful production. Before ending tonight, if you believe that voter participation is not just a spectator sport, we invite you to join the Marquette County League of Women Voters. We are always open to new members, female and male. There are membership forms available on our information table. For further information on the upcoming election, including the school board, you can go to our online voter guide at vote411.org or pick up our printed voter guide that's just come out. Remember to get out and vote on November 8th. Your vote is your voice. Thank you so much. Thank you.